Hello everyone, it's Mark Holthe. Welcome back to another edition of the Canadian Immigration Live Q&A. It has been a little rough and tumble. As you can see today, I am recording at 9 a.m. instead of 10. So I tried to post this to make sure that you guys would know that I was going live. But in just a little bit, I am going to jump over and we're going to have a fantastic live Q&A today. See you in a bit. All right, so I can hear all of the comments just piling in, and I know that you guys have been hungry for me to get back in here answering questions. Part of the reason that I've been a little bit delayed in answering questions here is because I'm shifting things. I'm making some changes, and one of the changes that I'm making is adding a phenomenal little addition to my Express Entry DIY course. So if you watched the video a couple of weeks back, maybe it was last week, maybe it was the week before, I can't remember. I let you know that I'm actually going to be doing a Mark Holthe guided DIY course that will start on Monday. And I want to just flip over here to the website and show you. When you go to the Canadian Immigration Institute, you will see here that there is now a countdown timer. And not only when you subscribe to the DIY course are you going to get access to all 50 plus videos. And if you click on register now, you will see right here that you have access to not only all of the 50 plus videos, but there is also going to be right here, and I know it's kind of tiny to see there, but this basically says that when you act now, the first 100 people are going to get access to a member-only Facebook group that is geared to just the first 100 people that register, and it will be for a 2-week period, and you will be admitted into this private Facebook group. I'm going to click over here to About, and this group right here that will start Monday, February the 8th, every morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. That's 9:30 for you over in Asia Pacific. It's actually at a really, really good time. Every morning for 2 weeks, I will jump on for a live Q&A that is only for you. And that is all for the exact same price that you are normally paying for the course. Well, in fact, I've actually dropped the price of it. So if you guys want to take advantage of this and you click on register now, right here, you will see that the course now is $347 US. So before it was $497, I think I had it listed at. I've dropped that price and I've created this individual, and you can see in the Facebook group, I call it a kind of a master class where you will be guided directly by me, as well as have access to all of these things right here, which is the actual course, which has over 56 individual lessons that are all geared to walk you step by step through every single process. There's a section entirely on the Express Entry profile, how to complete it, individual video sections for every part of the Express Entry process. The whole profile you can see here, everything for accompanying spouses. And then, like I said, there is a component for everything. The EAPR section, understanding your documents, and then module 6 is the absolute bomb. This is the one where you have the ability to get a specific video with instructions, with samples. You know, if we click on the police certificates here, you can see on the right side, not only do I have a video that's 24 minutes long just on police certificates, but I've got specific instructions, links, and then a ton of sample police certificates to know, and that list is growing every day, exactly what you need to do. And the last thing I'm going to point out, and usually you never start with sharing, you know, what you're offering, but my goodness, I believe every single person deserves the right to be able to access this course in their journey, whether you're represented or not. And the record of employment section is probably one that I'm the most excited about, because in here I have some phenomenal resources for you. I have a checklist that you can use for making sure your employer reference letter is correct. What if you can't get a reference letter? Instructions, sample letters, a knock selection tool, which helps you to tell the officer and actually demonstrate to the officer what you need to do. And as you can see here, I have over 30 sample reference letters so that you can see exactly what yours needs to look like. And then the last but not least, in this mastering your document section, in addition to all of these individual sections, there is one specifically on letters of explanation including samples on what you guys really need to follow in terms of how you're setting it up. There's one for documents and there is one for the APR information section. All right, so what I'm gonna do here now is I'm gonna flip back because I know you guys are all anxious to get to the video, to get to the answers to your questions. But really understand, actually I'm gonna flip back one more time, understand that this masterclass, I call it a masterclass, but really it's because you guys don't understand what that means. This step-by-step DIY course is not only the course, but you have direct access to me. And so within these live Q&As, you guys have seen it. Like I'm not able to get to everybody's questions. And so what I decided is those who purchase the course will have a greater opportunity to have their questions answered. And it's just like a family. When everybody piles in there, the cohort of people that are going through this are actually, you almost become like family because you're all going through the process the same. Now, it doesn't matter what stage you're at, whether you don't know anything about Express Entry, you're just thinking about coming to Canada, whether you are someone who's kind of gets the idea and maybe you even submitted your profile, or someone who's gotten your ITA and you're at the stage where those 90 days where you're putting everything together. This is all for you. So Monday is when it starts. The cart will close and you can see you can't just buy the course. It's not open for purchase anymore, just the course itself. When you purchase, you are automatically added into this group and it is going to be awesome. So I wanted to let you guys know that the time is running out. As I flip back to the screen, you can see here, we've got 4 days, 16 hours left before it closes. So join now, just do it. All right, let's jump over here now and let's see who's tuning in. We'll flip over to the view screen here. So we've got Gail from Belgium. Welcome. And let's see if we can enlarge this a little bit so everybody can see a little bit better. That's great. Welcome. Great to have you connecting with us. Make sure you always post where you are tuning in from. And remember, everybody's been just piling in questions. You guys need to hold off till I give you the green light. So make sure that you post here where you're tuning in from, and then because I'm not gonna answer the questions, whoever's the first to the draw. So once I say you can post the questions, then post them, and then I'll get to answering them. All right? Okay, let's see what we have here. Tahir says, looking young man, I guess. That's a thank you, I guess. Good afternoon, folks, says Callum. Callum's just patiently waiting, right, my friend? Patiently waiting for those results. Great to have you connected in, my friend. Okay, we've got Freena, who's from India. Welcome, Freena. It's great to have you here with us. We've got Pinti as well from India. And, oh, Clement from Zambia. This is awesome. You know, Clement, I'm not sure if we've had anyone from Zambia before, so it's great to have you tuning in. This Facebook user says, which app do you use for the live video? Aha, it is called Ecamm Live. It's an awesome little app. All right. And if you'd like to learn more, just send me a message. And those who are Facebook users, one of the drawbacks to the app that I'm using is even though I'm going live in the Express Entry Law private Facebook group to all of you 126,000 members, it restricts my ability to see you. So if you go over to the Canadian Immigration Institute, the actual Facebook page, then it will show you as an individual, just like Saima, who says, hello. Great to have you, Saima. All right, we've got Anas from Pakistan is tuning in. We've got a really great group of people here. This is fantastic. So yeah, so thanks for watching. Remember, once again, guys, it's so hard for me to, you know, I'm going to collect a whole bunch of video testimonials from people who've purchased that course. But, you know, I don't think you guys are actually listening to me, because this course, this DIY course, will give you all of the tips, the strategies, all of the things to avoid. And not just that, all of the sample documents, examples, templates, checklists. And not only that, a complete walkthrough of how you complete each section of the Express Entry process. And not just that, access to me directly. Here, you may not get your question answered because there's just simply not enough time and too many people asking questions. And I can't dive in deep like I can in the course with explanations because I just don't have time. So I have to hit and work fast through it. But for this $347 or whatever it is that I'm charging for this course, you have direct access to me with the other 100 people in this cohort. Once it fills up, it's done. And I don't think you guys appreciate, like, you're so used to getting free information out there that's garbage. This is loaded with everything that you need. And I'm going to get some testimonials, but I don't know how else I can encourage you. Just actually purchase it. It'll be so worth it. It will help you in your journey. And okay, enough is enough. All right, so those of you who are pumping it in, let's see what Ray says. She says, hey, Mark, will I be able to access the DIY Masterclass even if after a year? Does it have expiration? Absolutely. That's a great question, Rhea, because everything in there within the Facebook group, the lives that I do are all recorded and saved right there and accessible for everyone. Access to all of the 56 courses are all available for life. It never goes away. In the course, it'll be open for about 2 months to post comments. And then after that, the comments will be closed off. But everything in there is accessible for life. All right? Okay. Berzaria says, how many hours of content do the 50 plus hours videos contain? My goodness, if we go back to the actual site and I pull it up so that you guys can see the actual course, you can see this lesson alone is 28 minutes, just on the letters of explanation. Each of these lessons, if we go to the next lesson, and you can say, well, how long is it for provincial nominee certificates? Well, even for PNP certificates, it's 11 minutes. And then we go back here to the previous one. So that's the letter of explanation is 28 minutes. Educational credential assessments is 10 minutes. The language tests are 9 minutes. So each of these videos varies in length. Proof of name change is only 4 minutes because there isn't a lot to say about it. Marriage and common law docs is 16 minutes. So you see each of these videos, proof of funds is 22 minutes alone. So these, and not only, proof of siblings is 12 minutes. So you can do the math. But even in there, to make it easier for you, those of you who just want to jump quick to information, I've got the helpful tips. I've got the highlights, the information. And like I said, once again, and I apologize for kind of, taking over this with the course, but we have 4 days left for you to register, and then it's getting locked. And boy, those of you who subscribe and connect into this course, your mind is going to be blown away. I can guarantee, because the course standalone was completely revised right at the beginning of this year. It's all new. Every video has been newly created. But not only that, those times where, I just don't know quite what this is. I have to ask a question to Mark. Well, you'd have to book a consult. And right now I dropped my consult fee just a little bit. So it's sitting at $300 right now. But all of this in the private group that we have right here, and I'll share it with you right here, this Express Entry Masterclass that starts February the 8th through the 19th. This is where you can go in and post your questions in the live that we do every single morning. So I don't know what else to do. I'm serious. I don't know what else I can do to make this as accessible as possible for everyone. And it's worth every penny that you pay. All right, so just jumping back here, like I said, to the courses here, all you have to do is go to the Canadian Immigration Institute, and there should be a link below. And if you're here, you can see the countdown timers running. You can click on register now. It will then take you to the landing page that explains. There's a video here that talks about it. And then you can register now to save your spot, and you will be put right into the masterclass, okay? I'm never going to reduce the price of the course anymore, because the course is worth every single penny of this. But what I am doing is I'm going to upgrade. So this is essentially a 30% off or more from what the course used to be permanently. I've priced it at this level, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually add myself in as an added bonus. And that's the direction I'm going to go with cohort 100 people by 100 people by 100 people, because it's just so much more effective and cost effective for people when it comes to the actual booking of consults with our firm. But whatever, there you go. If you want to get in, join now, and I'd love to have you join me. Okay, let's get back to those questions that people are asking here. Okay. Okay, let's zip through. And so now what I'm going to do is, what does Callum got here? Now you can start posting your questions. Okay, what does Callum says? He says, guys, just buy the course if you're even considering it. I'm 100% sure it will be well worth the investment. Callum accessed the old course. right, Callum? You use the old course, but the new one is like on steroids. It like has that whole new section that's all about documents. So anyways, we'll leave it at that. All right, let's see here what we've got with some, and remember your questions need to be focused on general topics that are of benefit to everybody. If you've got this big, long paragraph that is massive long, I'm going to skip through it because I'm not going to take the time to read through this whole big story. Keep it succinct, small, that you'll have the greatest chance of getting your question answered. Hey, I would do super chat if I could, but the Law Society probably doesn't want me doing super chat where people pay to get their questions answered or bumped up in the queue. So I choose the ones that are short, easy to connect to, easy to answer, and that allow me to get through as many questions as possible because that's the only thing that's fair to everybody. All right. So if you've got a big, long paragraph, I'm probably going to skip right through it. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see where we start here. And we'll jump back right here. So Ralph, you're never late, my friend. You're always here. Okay. Let's go into here. Okay, so here's a question. So this one says, and this one's from Rasagi. He says, how can I submit some suggestions to IRCCCC regarding express entry? Some suggestions? Good question. I have no clue. You're going to need to offer some more direction. Well, if you have suggestions, you can pass them on to me because I have regular meetings with them. So, okay, let's see here. Let's see what we've got here. So this one says, hey, Mark, I'm from Pakistan, post AOR. Okay, in personal history, we can only add activities with month and year. I added 2 activities which were 10 days apart without mentioning the 10 days as unemployed. Did I do it right, or should I raise a web form now? The key here, because of months, obviously you want to try to accommodate for everything that you've done. That's 100% the case. When it comes to gaps like that, I always do put a single month in there. Even though it was only 10 days out of that month, I do put an entry for unemployed if there's a gap. But in your situation, like I said, it's hard. I don't anticipate that being an issue. But if you have concerns, by all means, submit it. All right. Okay, let's see who's next here. Okay. All right. So this one is for Berzarius, and he says, hey, Mark, I see that the IRCC's description, first paragraph matches my job perfectly. Can I ignore the employment requirement since it says usually required and maybe required? Okay. So Berzarius, the employment requirements have nothing to do with what you are doing within Express Entry. Those have absolutely nothing to do with you being able to claim that particular knock or position profile for your position, okay? The employment requirements are one thing. So what's the minimum education, the minimum experience that's required? Doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that you've performed a substantial number of those main duties listed in your knock. And when you've identified here, and let's pull up your question just here on the main screen here. Like you've identified here, the employment requirements, if it says usually required or maybe required, I ignore those. Now, those are not the employment requirements. That's a duty that is an optional duty. And so if you are completing your profile, you're trying to match the proper knock, anything that says may or usually required as a duty, you can ignore those because those are not essential duties. All right. Hopefully that helps. Okay. Let's see what we got next here. All right. So we'll touch on this one. Okay. Let's see what Gail has to say here. If someone needs to move to Canada to start a new job with a valid job offer and with PR citizenship status, does this person need to pay the $2,000 for the new 3-day mandatory hotel? Everybody does. No one's going to be able to escape that. And remember, if you're going back, you've indicated here a job offer with, and this is popping off here. I got to figure out a way to shut this off from, let me just see here. If I've got this fixed, just give me a second. I'm going to see if I can figure out why these overlays, maybe right now because I'm going live, I don't have the ability to adjust things on the fly, but I'm just trying to figure out why my overlays are shutting off so quick. Aha, this is the fun of these other controls. Aha, there we go. Turn that off. Let's see if it actually works. Okay, there. I had the comments automatically turning off. So in your situation, everybody that comes through it's mandatory. So if you're traveling from abroad, you're not getting out of this. And it's something that the government has imposed. It's still up in the air. We don't know, Gail, how this is going to all play out. But whether you're a Canadian citizen, a permanent resident, a foreign national coming to work temporarily, you bet, understand that that is going to kick in. It's going to apply. And yes, it sucks. But hey, countries like Australia have already been doing it. Anyone here from Australia, give me a thumbs up, because you know what I'm talking about. And because of those rules, because of the quarantine hotels, Australia is in a whole lot better position than Canada is right now. So I think personally that it was well overdue. Okay, and remember, any question that is specific directly to you, I'm going to ring that bell. Or if you're wondering why I'm not answering it, it needs to be characterized in a way that would benefit everybody. Okay? All right, let's see what we've got here. Okay, and like I said, if you got a big, long one, then it's probably not going to get answered. Okay, let's take this one. This is borderline. This is pushing it, okay? So Betty says, hey, Mark, I'm applying under CC, claiming points for a valid job offer, currently working almost 2 years for the same employer under LMIA, but my work permit will expire soon. I'll apply for bridging open work permit. Is it okay if my job offer is longer than my current work permit? Thank you so much. The reality is your employer, your work permit needs to be employer specific. And you always have to pay very, very close attention to that. I don't know what work permit you started with. And this is, Betty, this is kind of why these questions, when they get long like this, are really just related to your situation. But I don't know what your original work permit is. And so, you know, you've got, well, I guess I should say that you've got the same employer under an LMIA exempt. So does that mean that you are like an intercompany transfer? Does that mean that you are under reciprocal employment, but an employer specific work permit? And I understand the nature of advancing to a bridging open work permit. Unfortunately, Betty, I need a little bit more information. I don't want to say, yep, you're good to go, without seeing exactly how you've structured things. And that's why it's really hard. You would be a perfect candidate for the DIY course that's launching, because we could get into that in a lot more detail, and I could specifically address that in more detail, but it's just not possible in these live Q&As. All right. Okay, let's keep zipping through here. Let's see here. And you guys have got some big questions here. And some of you are overlapping them. Let's see. Okay, yep, here's a good question. Lewis says, hey, Mark, there are some people who got trapped at the border with COPR after March 18th, and now they don't want. What will happen to them? What is your opinion on this? Thanks. The opinion is the orders in council, the travel restrictions, yes, will block someone with a newly issued COPR after March 18th from traveling. If you're coming from the US, the rules are a little bit different, but internationally, yeah. And 2 weeks ago when I had, well, let's see, was it 2 weeks? 1 week? 1 week ago in the meeting that I had with the Minister of Immigration, Marco Mendicino, we talked about a bunch of different things. And, you know, and one of the things we talked about was the steps that Canada was taking to try to corral this coronavirus and to deal with this pandemic. And as you've seen, the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, instituted all of these more heightened restrictions for people traveling to Canada. And so this all fits into this grander scheme of discussions, which is how can Canada get control of this? Because the vaccines aren't rolling out here anytime soon. We're having tons of problems, which I think everybody knew was going to happen. And because of that, there was greater lockdowns. Even over Christmas, I almost wasn't able to spend one day with my mother for Christmas. You know, just recently, there was a child in my daughter's school who had the virus, and she was in the same class as my daughter. So my daughter has to come home and quarantine for 14 days. And we as a family are not going to, you know, put her off in some room by herself. So we quarantine with her. And so these are the things that are happening in Canada. So they are, you know, I feel for people like you. I absolutely do. The reality is, Lewis, when you have a COPR, you just want to be able to travel and come to Canada and start your life. But the reality is, this is something that is facing so many people, and I know how you guys are feeling, but right now, you're going to be stuck. You're going to be waiting, and ultimately, your COPR is not going to be canceled, and you lose your opportunity to come to Canada. The government has 401k locked in their radar, so their goal is 401,000 or more immigrants, and that's their target. So if they're targeting that for a year, the reality is they have to make sure that everyone they've extended those confirmations of permanent residence to actually are able to come. Now, you may have to update your medicals, police certificates. You might have to send your passport back in. Maybe they work through a new mechanism where you don't have to send it in. I know they've got a lot of things in the queue. Long answer, but in the end, yeah, Lewis, it sucks, but it is the world that we're in. Okay. Yale says, does your course work for federal skilled worker programs? Heck yeah, that's what it's designed for. It's specifically designed for people that are overseas looking to come to Canada who are going through the process. And it's even designed for people that don't have a freaking chance of qualifying. Why? Because by taking the course, by looking at the introductory modules, by assessing yourself, and by understanding how it actually works, you can stop yourself from being screwed over by overseas agents who want to steal your money, who are charging you $1,000, $2,000 to post or to put a profile in the pool that has no chance of ever getting an ITA. And that's why I created the course in the beginning, was to prevent people overseas from getting hosed by people who want to take advantage of them. You are given every tool to the point where you take the course, you know more than those consultants and agents know about the process. And that's what it comes down to. And so when they're blowing you some smoke, and if you do want to, and you have reasons for using someone, I'd obviously love for you to use our firm, but if you chose to use someone local, this course is going to put you in a position where you know everything. And yes, they can give you that added security that, okay, someone else is looking at it. Fine. If you want to pay for that, go ahead. But at the end of the day, this course is going to give you the knowledge and tools that are on par or even exceed the experience and knowledge of that agent who supposedly wants to take your money to submit a profile. And remember, just because you can get your application into the Express Entry profile means nothing when it comes to actually immigrating to Canada, because you have to rank high enough. And in the course, I teach you what you need to know so that you don't throw your money away on a wasted effort. All right, let's keep cruising on here. Okay, so great question, Yaley. I appreciate that. Okay, Raul says, does having a close relative in Alberta beneficial? I'll be honest, not really. Right now, what happens is, and I should probably do a little course on this, but for the Alberta Immigrant Nominee Program, the reality is, I should do a course on the Alberta Immigrant Nominee Program. It's entirely online now. But the reality is, Alberta is only nominating people that are currently living in Alberta and working. Full stop. When they extend those through the Express Entry stream, don't listen to any overseas agent who's telling you, oh, let's get your profile in at 300 points because Alberta could draw you. That is total hogwash. Alberta is not nominating people who do not already live in Alberta. They're not. They've restricted the number of nominations. There are negotiations right now to extend it back up, maybe. But right now, it's the people that are in Alberta that are getting those nominations, whether it's the Express Entry stream or the Alberta Opportunity stream, which is specifically based on people working in Alberta. So whether you have a relative or not, who cares? It's by and large, Express Entry is based on occupation, not on whether you have a relative, and it's not the same as the other provinces. Great question, Raul. I'm going to give you one of these. Big clap, big round of applause for you, my friend. Okay. All right. James says, hey, I got the SIMP invitation. Can I extend the submission time? You need to reach out to the SIMP and make the request. You need to reach out and make the request. But I personally do not take chances. If you've got that invitation, then boom, you move forward as fast as you can. As far as the submission time, what I can't tell is if you're talking about an expression of interest from Saskatchewan or whether you actually have the nomination. But when it comes to an invitation or a notification of interest, that way to apply, reach out to them, make the request. But I would do everything in your power not to miss it and just to get it done. Okay. All right. Bernard's asking some more quarantine stuff. Okay, do the quarantine rules apply if we are crossing the border by car from the US to Canada? And what happens if we leave the US back home, since US is the only exempt country? Great question, Bernard. That is one that I cannot answer right now. We are completely up in the air as to how these new rules are applying at the ports of entry. We know the airports, fly in, quarantine hotel. At the ports of entry, we are still waiting on instructions. So at this stage, I actually do not know. I don't have an answer. If you drive down, if you come back, if they're going to somehow whisk you off to a quarantine hotel, I don't know. All I know is for the airport, absolutely that is happening. That's a good question, Bernard. If you have a specific situation, I recommend that you go right over here and you go to our website and you book a consultation. My quarantine people, the travel restriction people, are Alicia and Susan. They are the ones that are totally up to speed with this. They've become the experts. I've let them deal with a lot of that ins and outs across the border. So book a consult with them and they can guide you through the process. As you can see, guys, my rate is $315, which includes our sales tax. Alicia and Susan are at $210. So there you go. All right, jumping back, moving on, cruising. And you can see, I want to go through this as fast as I can, but the reality is I'm restricted. There's no way I can answer questions about every single thing. That's why when we go into the Facebook group right here, each day is focused on a particular aspect of Express Entry. And so when we go through here and you can see the people, let's go in here to the discussion here. Oh, these Facebook making changes. So when we go in here and I do a live video, it's going to be focused on a particular aspect of the Express Entry process. And then I'm going to dive in deep as people ask questions that relate to that topic. I can do it in a way that I could never do in this live Q&A. All right. So once again, when you go here, go click on the link and subscribe to this. When you subscribe, it will take you and give you instructions to request to join our group here. And I know I got a bunch of pending ones that I have to admit here. Let's see. Yeah, I've got a ton of pending ones that I have to admit in. But don't worry, I will get you guys in. You've subscribed, you will get in. Okay. All right, I'll do that right after I'm done this. Let's jump again here and get back to more questions. Okay, Facebook user Bangladesh, hello, good to see you. All right, let's see what else we have here. Let's see here. Let's see here. I'm trying to find one that's a good. Okay. Hi, Mark. Translation agency, Manitoba or Ontario? Doesn't matter as long as they're certified translators. Okay. Let's see. You guys are doubling up your questions. Okay, here's a good question. Jiva says, due to the extreme travel restrictions in Canada, is it that CAC is working only on CAC inland applications for PR? Well, hey, today's Wednesday, guys. It's 9 o'clock. It might be a little bit early. Let's go over here to the rounds of invitations and let's see what we got. Express Entry, right here is where you're going to go. Rounds of invitations. You're going to click on this, scroll down. Dun, 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 dun. January 21st, right there. 2021 was the last draw. So we have not yet had a draw. This one was at 454. If we go back to the other rounds of invitations, you'll see here, they're nicely organized now, so they're a lot easier to view. You can see that over the last, since December 23rd was the last open program. And you can see, because they did these big 5,000 cohort draws here, this right here, you can see 468 was the lowest it's been in a long time. Before these big 5,000 draws, if you go through this, you had to go for no program specific. You had to go all the way back to, let's see, how far do we have to go back? This is a long ways. Well, I'm not even going to go because I think it was back to 2019 before we had an open, no program specific draw that was below 470. So because of that, the people that got, and I have clients that were hit on 468, consider yourself super fortunate. What does the future hold? I think everybody can see. We've had PNP draw, Canadian Experience class, PNP Canadian Experience class. My prediction, you guys, is that we will definitely continue to see CEC draws for the next little bit. And I think the government is trying to sort things out. I anticipate that they will intersect some open draws in there. But what does that mean? Outland applicants, you have no time to delay. You need to get on this ASAP because those scores are going to increase. Okay, so the more people pile in, the more competitive it is. And one thing I want to show you guys in the actual course once again is, and then right after this, I'm just going to pause for just a little break. But what I want to show you in the course, I have right at the beginning, you can see the modules, and I apologize for how small this is. You guys probably can't even read it. Let's make it bigger so you can see. So module 1, learning the basics. I think I'm going to release this one for free. I'm going to talk to Igor to see if we can make this free to everybody. But basically intro to the guide, then express entry in a nutshell, how the comprehensive ranking system works. And then I have a CRS, excuse me, case scenarios, which is basically, and I'm just going to scrub it. It's a 25-minute video that talks about right here. You're having a birthday. This sample. These are sample scenarios of imaginary clients, if you will, going through the process, how it works, and whether or not they have a good chance of success. And I go through all of this within this introductory section before we even get to the juicy stuff. But this is one thing that's really cool, and I think I'm gonna try to make this this module available for you guys so that you can check it out. But it's all designed to just help you understand how this world works, and you know, and basically, you know, what it really takes to be able to immigrate to Canada. Not listening to all of the propaganda from the people who are just trying to sell you something. Okay. Okay, and I think Yaley, yes, you posted that twice. Yes, it works for the federal skilled worker programs. Absolutely. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Anam says, hey, should I keep good hopes on a score of 468 for federal skilled worker program? Anything is possible, Anam. Anything is possible. I think right now, with the fact we've had delays, the next draw is not going to be 468. So you need to continue doing everything in your power to increase your language scores if you have even a little bit more, or consider studying French, which is now a significant component for bonus points if you can learn French. I think I should start a French language school somewhere, because I'll tell you, that's going to be a game changer going forward. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to, if you're asking about whether you should believe a lawyer or something, I'm not going to go there, my friend. I'm not going to answer that one. Okay, Bazarius, you're welcome. Okay, let's see what we've got here as we're pounding through some more questions. Okay, so here's a good question. This is from Denise. Denise says, how does it work for the ones that are getting COPRs now through the FSW? When could they immigrate? Will they have to wait for the PR itself to be sent through the mail? Understand that this process right now, the government does not know what they're going to do with these people. So I think immigration felt that things would open up, but then with all these new variants of the virus, and Canada's continual lockdown, the difficulty that we have getting the vaccines, understand, Denise, people that are in this situation with issued COPRs that are unable to travel, you're just stuck. You're just like those individuals who had them issued at the beginning of 2020 or the end of 2019 that were blocked by the March 18th. And the reality is right now there's an inability to travel. And until the travel restrictions are lifted, Denise, it's going to be difficult for these people. But remember, this is something I want you guys to understand. This is super important. I wish I could do some kind of a, pay attention to this because this is important. So I'll lean in. I'll lean in and I'll tell you that this is not a reason for you not to continue pursuing express entry. Anyone who's telling you, oh, you can't travel, so don't bother. Well, tell them to hit the road. That's the stupidest advice in the world, because every year things could get more and more competitive. This may be the only chance you get to get an ITA. So if you get that ITA and you submit your EAPR, then you are locked in. Yes, if it works out that you're issued a COPR, you can't travel, and those who are watching, a confirmation of permanent residence. It's the last step before you can actually get on a plane and travel, at least before this pandemic hit and all the travel restrictions kicked in. So in your situation here, the key thing to remember is that once you're in, you're in. If your COPR expires and you notify IRCC, hey, I can't travel, duh, because you're letting me travel, in those circumstances, they will hold it, they will pend it, they will keep you in the queue. And then once these things are lifted, my goodness, I think I'm going to buy into bed and breakfast or some other accommodation facility, temporary, because so many of you are going to be piling into Canada because the borders are going to be open. And boy, the airlines are going to be chock full of bookings. All right. Okay. Hopefully that helped to answer that question. All right. Zipping through here. Okay. Vidi say, hey, does IRCC sometimes not update medical status? Yeah. IRCC all the time doesn't update a whole whack of things because it's not this systematic, this happens, then this happens. Every officer is different. If they don't toggle the thing that says the medical is received, if the medical doesn't show up in your profile, the whole portal is a freaking gong show right now. It is so glitchy. And you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys know when you've tried to access the portal and you keep timing out, oh my goodness, it's enough to drive me crazy. That was another discussion that we had when we've been talking. Every time we talk to immigration, this is top and forefront on the discussion. You know, the representative portal for us lawyers has been having tons of problems. So all of this, you guys, is all just comes part and parcel with the challenges immigration is having. The express entry portal, the whole GCMS system was never designed to handle the volume that it's handling right now. Immigration's in the process of building out, extending RFPs. I'm not sure if someone's been awarded the actual contract to start building it, but they're building it on the side while they're continuing to try to patch up the portal. And oh, it is scary. Okay. All right. Okay, here we go. Let's clarify this. Actually, I'm going to jump back and I'm going to pull you back in here, Rasag, because you've got a good question here. Suggestion to RCC, I meant regarding some knock codes, which it is not possible to prove continuous work experience. Mariners, contract engineers. My friend, I've got a client who just got through. We went through painstaking to document everything, and he knows who he is, Mariner, on the ships for years and years all over the world. And yes, I understand the problem that you're in right now, those regulatory changes. The fact is, immigration doesn't have to make any accommodation to open the door for anyone else. The rules that they have right now have created a demand that is so far in excess of what would normally be considered, you know, actually like a large enough funnel to fill our quota. Well, they're so far beyond that with the people that want to immigrate. They don't need to make any changes. They don't. And the only reason they do, like French, is for politics. It's political reasons to encourage, you know, the bilingual nature of our country. All right. But that's a good question, Rasag. That's a good question. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, we'll pull this one in. This is a good general question. So, Ovice here, I'll tell you that many of the provinces, it's the pandemic, right? They've got tons and tons of Canadians that are out of jobs. So they're not extending any expressions of interest. Alberta isn't. Many of the provinces are not doing that because, well, they've got tons of local Albertans and Canadians or Newfoundlanders that are out of job, they're out of work. And so the provinces are taking the position, well, we're not going to bring in any new people until we're satisfied that our own residents have jobs. And that's the unfortunate reality. Okay. Okay, and this is a good question here. I'm going to ring the bell, Ramos, because I need a whole lot more information. So Ramos says, hey, I've got an SIMP nomination. I want to know if it's fine to work for a Quebec company remotely from a Saskatchewan province. I ring this bell because that is not something that I can answer. There are so many factors involved with that. And, you know, the short answer is maybe, but, you know, the reality is Saskatchewan extends that nomination for you to show that you're actually going to live there. And the likelihood of you staying in Saskatchewan, if you're working remotely for a Quebec-based company who ultimately says, hey, you're a PR, why don't you come on over to Quebec? You don't have to be in Saskatchewan anymore. Saskatchewan knows that. They know that the likelihood of you actually staying, if you're not actually working for a company in Saskatchewan, is remote, is low. So even though you say, hey, I'm living in Saskatchewan, but I'm just working remotely, how long is that going to last? That's what's going through an officer's head. All right. All right. Canals gives me a thumbs up. Okay. Okay, here's a good question. I'm going to give you right here, John. The reality is right here, you say, hey, will my points be recalculated if I get married after AOR? Okay, this is a perfect example, perfect opportunity for me to shift back right here to my course. And I'm going to go right here to the categories. And I'm going to scroll right down here to member resource section. And what do we have here? Non-accompanying spouse, what you need to know and how to complete the EAPR portion. And this section is specifically targeted to address your question. So not only do we have the video here, which is 15 minutes long, but I have this detailed section with links, explanations, details, all designed to help you figure out what the heck you're supposed to do. But I can tell you every single time, my friend, I will advise people to ring the bell, book a consult, because this is something you don't want to mess with. Now, to answer your question, will points be recalculated if I get married after AOR? The short answer is likely no. I say likely because, once again, a whole bunch of questions that could arise that I don't want to get caught into giving you direct legal advice. So right here, my friend. But generally speaking, A11.2 carves out an exception, at least the program delivery instructions carve out an exception for you so that you do not get caught in a situation where your points are recalculated because maybe you had a spouse before and you listed that spouse as non-accompanying, and now you want to change. So there's a whole bunch of different factors at play, and you have to be extremely careful how you respond to this. Some people are trying to list their spouses as non-accompanying while they're in Canada and their spouse is with them. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. The reality is, you guys, like, that's disaster waiting to happen. That's misrepresentation allegations waiting to happen. So super complicated. Great question. Covered in the course and consults for sure. Okay. Okay. I want to just take one quick little pause because I want to share something with you guys. Right in about an hour and a half, I am recording a brand new podcast. Those of you who are in Canada right now watching this, who maybe are alumni of the Canadian Immigration Institute, maybe you have gone through and now you're a permanent resident of Canada and you're struggling, you're looking to get settled. I want to share something with you. And this is all about a company that I'm doing an interview with in just an hour and a half.
It's in each and every one of us. The capacity to do great things. Our potential. Potential fuels possibilities. It enables us to do amazing things. To heal. To discover. To inspire. Unfortunately, too many skilled newcomers to Canada aren't able to fulfill their potential because their professional certification isn't valid here. Getting certified takes money, which is challenging when you're trying to start a new life here with no credit history. So they're trapped. Trapped financially. Trapped in a job they're not meant to do. Wasted potential is tragic. Our mandate is to change that. When new Canadians work in their true profession, they gain a sense of belonging, dignity, and self-worth. But the benefits don't stop there. Our economy benefits, with new thinking and greater tax contributions that support the services we all need. Its potential fully realized. The microloans we offer help secure a better, more prosperous future for all Canadians. Windmill Microlending, converting potential into prosperity.
That company is freaking awesome. They are so cool. Their sole purpose is designed to give small little loans to people who immigrate to Canada who can't afford right away the cost of paying the exorbitant amounts that the professional associations or the technical associations require for you to work in regulated occupations like nurses and doctors and engineers and pharmacists and all these kinds of things. Even trade certification, when you're trying to get your welding certification or your carpentry, whatever it might be. And so this company is awesome, and I'm going to do a podcast episode with them on the Canadian Immigration Podcast, which we're also going to post here on the YouTube channel. And so you've got to check it out. They're awesome, and I wanted to give them a shout out. Okay, all right. Let's jump back in here and try to get to a bunch more questions. Gail, no problem. Happy to answer your questions. Glad they were helpful. Okay, Donka, how long do security checks take? There is no set time. It depends entirely on the country. Some countries, obviously, Canada doesn't have good relationships with them. And it's going to take a long time because it's hard for them to get the information they need to clarify and check that, make sure that you're not an Al-Qaeda warrior or something like that, a terrorist, right? But other countries where Canada has full information sharing agreements, like the US, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, it happens really quick. All right, so it just depends. Okay, let's see what else we have here. We got a bunch of questions piling in. And boy, you guys have really, really outdone yourselves today. like I said, when it comes down to these questions, there are so many that I'm just not getting to that are really good questions. And I don't know how many times I have to tell you guys, but jumping back right here, go here and register for my upcoming Express Entry step-by-step course. As you can see here, 4 days, 14 hours, 21 minutes and 22 seconds, and the cart closes. The first 100 people that are in will have access to the private Facebook group right here that is member only, where I will join them for 1 hour every single day for a 2-week period. How much does it cost? Register, clicking on the register here button, and you will see that it's $347 US. So that's 56, what is it? Over 56 individual videos that cover everything, as well as me in that course individually, 1 hour every day, focused on you answering your questions. And I don't know what else to say other than it's going to be absolutely unbelievable. And I'm going to get video testimonials from every single person that goes through it, who then tells all of you, you guys should have taken that course. It blew my mind. It gave me all of the answers to help me with the confidence I needed to know I was doing it right the first time. And you guys know what happens. If you make a mistake, immigration is ruthless. I've talked about this before. I had a client, Raul. What did I have to say to him? I'm sorry, I can't help you. You don't get a second chance. And obviously Raul's response was, this is so unfair. This is so unfair. I thought I did everything that I was supposed to do. How can this happen? What was the problem? Tiniest little error on a document. Completely impossible for Raul to know that he had done something wrong. And opportunity to immigrate to Canada, poof. So I'm not a fearmonger. You guys know that. I wouldn't be doing videos for 4 years, live Q&As over and over, teach, but it just wasn't enough for me. That's why I created this, you guys. That's why I created this thing. It was to give you guys a resource that you could actually trust. A resource that if you followed the instructions within this actual course and all of the details that I have listed in here, and you follow it, it will help you to avoid the most common problems that people fall into. And that wasn't enough for me. That is why I created the private Facebook group. So that not only do you avoid the most common ones, but you avoid the one that you need to avoid because you've asked the question and you've got the answer. So jumping back, let's get back into here. But all you have to do is click the link below and register. Get in. I'll add you into the group. And it's just like one big massive family. It is so cool to see. These people that you register with you, they are just like family. You're going through the journey together. And it's amazing to me how people become lifelong friends because of it. So private group, member only, access to me, 2 weeks straight, plus everything in the course. Click the link below and register. Just do it. All right. We've got a few more minutes here. Let's pound out a few more questions. Okay. Let's see here. We'll give you're welcome, Betty. Glad I could help you. Let's see here. This one, Kunal. All I can say is, I am so sorry. What if someone forgot to upload documents while submitting the Express Entry application? Can he do that now using web form? Yeah, Kunal, you can. You do have the ability to do it, but immigration does not have to accept it. They don't. The reality is if you make a mistake, that could literally cost you. And I don't know what you forgot or what information that you put in. If you entered in information that was actually incorrect, well, it's kind of hard to go back now and say, oh, I made a mistake, because you're clicking on and attesting that everything in that application, when you click submit, was true, complete, and correct. Now, one of the things I also want to address to you guys is some of you just want the peace of mind in knowing that you have someone who's going to help you. If you go to my site and you click on approach right here, it will take you to our client-centered, firm-supported approach. Do I love helping people here on these live Q&As? Absolutely. Do I love working with 100 people at the same time? Absolutely. But some of you have got situations that are just, they're so complex that you just can't trust to file it on your own because you don't have the information you need. That is why I created the collaborative review model. And so if you go here to our site, you can watch the video on what it is. And this is a model that is truly client-centered, firm-supported. You drive the ship with the full help and support of our immigration lawyers. All right. So now I'm going to sneeze, excuse me, and I'm going to get to 2 more questions. So the last 2 questions here. And like I said, I apologize if I'm not able to get to everyone's question, but the reality is this is impossible. It's not possible with so many people watching live. I do the absolute best that I can. Okay. Trying to find one that's really good. You know, Himananshu said, I've never had this one asked. What are the important things to remember while going for medicals? Well, the reality is when you're going for a medical, it's pretty much out of your hands. You're going to talk to the doctor. The panel physician, they're going to tell you what to bring. You're going to go, you're going to have the medical done. They're going to ask you to bring any medical, history. If you've got pre-existing conditions, they're going to ask you to bring in those reports and everything. And then if things go south and the medical doesn't go well, then you call an immigration lawyer, and you get that immigration lawyer to provide you with direction and assistance on this whole area of medical inadmissibility. And that might be what you're getting at, Himanshu. So understand that that's where an immigration lawyer really, really fits in. It's when things are going south, okay? Anybody can fill in a form. Anybody can. You've seen that. There's a whole industry of consultants that fill in forms, right? There's a whole industry of immigration lawyers who have paralegals that fill in your forms. Filling in the form is not the issue. It's making sure that you have not made those simple little mistakes, those mistakes that you truly never get a chance. You never get a second chance to choose a new knock. You never get a second chance to fix your reference letter after it's been submitted. You never get a second chance to buoy up your proof of funds after you've already submitted it. You almost never get a second chance. And that is why you need to click on the link. Let this guide help you to avoid those most common problems. That is once again why I created it. Okay, last question. All right, let's see what we've got here is the doozy of all questions to wrap this up on a super, super high note. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, and I think this is a quick one. Yes, of course, go to the consult, book the consult. I can help you with as much or as little help as you need, Yali. So just go ahead and book that. Let's see if we can find a good one. Okay, this is actually a good one. Amro, right here. Once again, in detail, we're already crossed over the 1 hour mark. So I don't have the ability to get into a lot of detail here, Amro, but he says, if the employer refuses to add the annual salary and benefits in the reference letter, could a tax letter issued by an authorized private accountant replace the missing requirements? So Amro, in the course, I go through painstaking detail. In fact, I have a specific, and I'll point this out and then I'll try to answer your question specifically. In the course, once again, if you go in, let's go to the course, and you go to the categories, and then I go to records of employment, which is in the mastering your documents. I open this up and I go to the records of employment section. I have a tool, a resource that specifically addresses what if I can't get a reference letter. And in there, I cover all of there's probably like about 30 different ways, 30 different things that I've personally had experience with trying to deal with the issue that you are dealing with, where the employer provides a letter that's deficient in some way. So in your situation here, if we go back to your question specifically, when it comes to pay, so salary and benefits are not listed, there's a number of things that you can do. If I think just off the top of my head, and like I said, Amro, everybody is different. So if you think about it, do you have, yes, an independent accountant is not as strong as the actual government, the tax assessment notice. So in Canada, we call it a notification of assessment. It basically says, okay, here's all the taxes that you've paid. That is solid proof that you were compensated. Okay, that's one thing. Did you have pay slips? Did you have, or pay stubs? Did they pay you with direct deposit into your bank account? All of those things also show. Sometimes if I'm desperate, I'll include the offer of employment that shows the wage that was to be paid. Sometimes, yes, if I do have an accountant or some other third-party independent verification process that you were compensated, I use all of those things. But there are so many other angles, and it really depends upon even your employer, even the country you're coming from. Some countries, Canada has a lot more skepticism versus others because of the high rates of fraud. If you're coming from one of those countries, then the standard that you have to obtain is way higher than if you were applying from within Canada, right? So these are a number of different things that you can take into consideration. But like I said, in the course, it all goes back to that. So I'll just finish off one more time by telling you guys what to do. You're going to go to the Canadian Immigration Institute right here, okay? Or you're just going to click on the link below. You're going to go to see our courses, and you can see the time, 4 days, 15 hours left. You're going to go to the Express Entry Step-by-Step course, and you can see you can't purchase it anymore. You can't just buy it. You have to go through right now through this course because this is where the true value is. Maybe I'll open it up once the first 100 is reached. Maybe I will. I don't know if I will or not. But this right here is where you're going to go. And then you're going to click on register and save your spot now. You've got 4 days to do it. Pay the fee, get added immediately into the group, and start asking questions. And you can see within the group right here with the discussions that we have, I already have members that are starting to post questions. We already have our own internal guidance and direction, and people are introducing themselves. And like I said, we are all one big family. So I'm done. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. This was an awesome live Q&A. Make sure that you check out, it'll be here. You can also tune into the Canadian Immigration Podcast. It is on iTunes, I think Stitcher. I can't remember the other. It's everywhere, basically, that you can listen to podcasts, as well as on the Canadian Immigration Institute YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in on Facebook and YouTube and even Periscope if you managed to find your way here. I didn't get to everybody's questions, but thank you so much. Subscribe, click on the button and do it. Join me. I can't wait to have you join this new group of Canadian Immigration Institute alumnus who are going through this Express Entry course together. All right, take care. We'll see you guys again soon.